this Thursday. Get your popcorn, get your drinks. We got some stuff to get into for today. So, of course, we have the day 12 testimony in the Diddy trial that we have to go over. Mia testified, so there were some interesting things that came out of this trial, much like it does every day when there's some testimony. And we have some other great topics that we have to get into. If you are not familiar with me, my name is Aries Rose, and welcome to Aries Rose TV. And you know the drill if you've been on a live before. If you are a returning Aries Crew member, leave hashtag Aries Crew in the comments. If you're a first time watcher, leave first time watcher in the comments. Want to give you a shout out for stopping by. Here on this channel, we talk about streaming shows, movies, TV shows, celebrity news, politics, world news, basically anything I find interesting, I come on and discuss with my Aries crew. And right now, we are dialed into the Diddy trial. So we are talking about day 12 testimony, and we have been following the trial on this channel. And we'll post the Diddy playlist in the description here so you can get caught up if you missed any days. You can get all your news here at Aries Rose TV related to the Diddy trial. And then we're going to be talking about Julie Chrisley. She was recently released from prison after President Trump pardoned her and her husband Todd Chrisley in their bank fraud and tax evasion sentence they were serving in federal prison. And then we also have Elon Musk is leaving the Trump administration. So we got to talk about that. He's had a lot of controversy with him being a part of that, and Doge and all the people who've been affected by losing their jobs and the different cuts that have been made by Doge. So, we got to get into that. And then we have Kevin Costner. The actor is being sued by the Horizon 2 stunt performer. So we got to see what's going on with that. That was definitely not in my bingo card for 2025. And the crypto investor that was arrested for allegedly torturing a person. We got some more information on that. That completely caught my attention because it's just one of the most wild things that I've heard in 2025. And it's already been a wild year. So we have to get into some updates about that. And first, we are going to get into Julie Chrisley being released from prison. So she was serving a 7-year sentence after her and her husband Todd were convicted of tax evasion and bank fraud. And their daughter had been working really hard, as well as I believe Todd. At different points in time, I've heard about Todd. They were working hard to try to get out. They feel the sentence was fair and that they deserved to be sentenced. And it looks like President Trump has heard those requests and he pardoned them. And that was earlier this week. And Todd was released yesterday. And I think late last night I was seeing that Julie Chrisley was released. And they are on the reality TV show Chrisley Knows Best. So it showed him and his family. They share children together. They have 3 children, and Todd has 2 children from a previous marriage or relationship. And Todd's mom, Nanny Faye, is on there. I think she's one of the most entertaining people on that show. I really enjoyed that show. So I was sad to hear when they went to prison, and they also took care of their granddaughter, Chloe, as well. And I always liked their dynamic as a family. I thought they were entertaining and really funny. And I'm glad that their sentence was pardoned. I honestly have no issue with this. I think they both have learned their lesson, and that's not something that they'll be doing again anytime soon, I am sure. And let's get into this reporting from TMZ. Julie Chrisley is officially out of federal prison, released just moments ago. TMZ has learned. The Federal Bureau of Prisons tells us Julie walked out of Federal Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky on Wednesday evening, not long after her husband Todd was released from federal prison in Pensacola, Florida. The Chrisleys, who were convicted on bank fraud and tax evasion charges in 2022, were released hours after President Donald Trump signed off on their pardons, and they got full pardons for their sentence. The couple's daughter, Savannah, gave a press conference just hours before her parents were freed. It's unclear where the family plans to come together, but it's certainly an exciting week for Todd and Julie, who had years knocked off their sentences after Trump pardoned them. Todd had been sentenced to 12 years in prison, and Julie was serving a 7-year sentence, but both only served 2 years before the pardon. Trump announced the news during a phone call to Savannah on Tuesday. Fans of the famous family will get a front row seat to the whole release from jail in the family's upcoming Lifetime show. As for the 17.8 million they owe in restitution, some of the top legal minds on our staff came together to discuss it, and it sounds like the Chrisleys may not be on the hook for any of it. And we got an update here. Sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ Julie Chrisley is already on her way home to Nashville, and at this point, she's home from when this was written here. And we have another update on her as well. So it is saying Julie Chrisley is a free woman and wasting no time jumping back into everyday life after Trump's last minute pardon. This is again reporting from TMZ. Julie's post glamour glow was written all over her face as she left the Nashville Butcher Thursday, rocking her natural locks because clearly the salon hasn't made the post prison to do list yet. So she is starting to gray on the top there, and then the bottom half of the hair is brown, and I've always seen her hair blonde on the show, so clearly she was dyeing it, and you don't have access to that in prison. After the 2.5 years behind bars for bank fraud and tax evasion, Julie's first day out was clearly about the basics, food runs, and making sure everyone knew she was back in town. Her smile said it all, and no surprise considering she was staring down a 7-year sentence with Todd doing 12 after their 2022 convictions for bank fraud and tax evasion. But just hours after Trump signed off on their pardons, Julie was scooped up from the Federal Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky by son Grayson on Wednesday night while Savannah was down in Pensacola, Florida, collecting dad. So they are now going to be reunited as a family, and it appears that you're going to get a chance to see everything that took place when they got together and the whole getting back together here through their Lifetime show. So let me know if you watched Chrisley Knows Best, and if you did watch the show, who was your favorite on there, and what are your thoughts on them getting a pardon? And let's get into our next story here. So we got to talk about he was a very well known part of the Trump administration here, and his time as a special government employee. I forget what the actual title was, but we'll find out here in the story. That time has come to an end. And in the time that he started from when Trump was initially inaugurated into office on January 20th, and they started doing the DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, where they were going through the different departments, that ended up causing a lot of people to get laid off unexpectedly. I think when people heard about DOGE, they didn't realize it was going to impact so many federal jobs versus looking at how money was spent and maybe not spending it that way. But they definitely got a surprise here at the start of the year, which is kicked up a pretty high unemployment rate that we're looking at right now as well. And as a result of that, Elon Musk was starting to get some backlash, and it was starting to come out in his businesses where people weren't really buying Teslas anymore, or people were then harassing people or vandalizing Teslas because of their anger with him, sometimes even vandalizing Tesla dealerships because of their anger towards Elon Musk and for his role with the Department of Government Efficiency. So I am sure he's looking forward to having his life back because he's probably not used to not being liked and loved and revered in the public. But when you affect thousands of people's jobs that, have families and responsibilities that they may not be able to cover, you're not always going to get a whole lot of love. So I think he learned that the hard way. But let's get into this story from TMZ. Elon Musk says his time working with President Trump as a special government employee is coming to an end. The world's richest man announced his impending departure from the Trump administration Wednesday with a post on his social media platform X. Elon says, quote, "As my scheduled time as a special government employee comes to an end, I would like to thank President at real Donald Trump for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending," end quote. Musk adds, quote, "The DOGE mission will only strengthen over time as it becomes a way of life throughout the government," end quote. Elon helped lead Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, since the start of the second Trump presidency in January, and his time as a designated special government employee was scheduled to run out this week. Musk's designation allowed him to work in the government for 130 days while being exempt from some rules regarding ethics and conflicts of interest, but that period is about to run out, which I believe is by May 30th. In a strange twist, Elon's exit comes on the heels of his criticism of some recent Trump legislation, which the President of the United States is calling his quote big, beautiful end quote bill. Elon's got a lot going on outside of Washington. He's also got companies to run at SpaceX, Tesla, Neuralink, and the Boring Company. Happy trails, Elon. So let me know your thoughts in the comments here. Looks like Elon's going to be going back into a private citizen life. I don't know what his role will be as far as dealing with Trump and the administration moving forward, since he won't have an official designation. But we'll definitely be monitoring that. You can get your updates here on Aries Rose TV. And we're going to jump into our next story here, talking about this crypto investor that decided to do some kind of crazy torture to a person to try and get their Bitcoin password, I believe. We reported on this story here on a previous live that I'll also link in the description. And it was totally wild. So you got to definitely check that out to get caught up. And let's see what's going on here. Bringing up the story. Okay. And there we go. So this is reporting from TMZ, and they're calling it the crypto torture caper. And the second suspect in the New York City's notorious crypto torture caper is now cooling his heels behind bars after being hit with formal charges by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. Prosecutors filed a criminal court complaint Tuesday in Manhattan criminal court charging Bitcoin entrepreneur William Duplessis with several felonies: kidnapping, assault, unlawful imprisonment, and criminal possession of a weapon. At his arraignment Tuesday evening, Duplessis was ordered held without bond after prosecutors asked the judge to remand him due to the severity of the crimes. According to the criminal complaint, Duplessis and his alleged cohort, John Wolitz, lured his business partner Michael Valentino Teofrasto Cortoron to their fancy Soho townhouse earlier this month. Police say the three men were involved in a Bitcoin venture that went awry after Duplessis and Wolitz seized Cortoron's electronic devices and passport inside the townhouse on May 6th. For the next 3 weeks, Duplessis and Wolitz allegedly kept Cortoron a prisoner while demanding his password to Bitcoin wallet worth millions. But Kotoran refused to cough it up, even after police say his two abductors tortured him by using electric wires to shock him and pointed a pow pow at his head. Duplessis and Willits also allegedly hung Kotoran over a ledge at the top of a staircase, threatening to unalive him if he didn't turn over the password. According to the complaint, Duplessis and Willits went so far as to bind and tie Cataron's wrists, insisting they would unalive his family if they didn't get what they wanted. This literally sounds like a movie script, not real life, and that's totally what caught my attention about this case, because I was thinking this cannot be real. I'm going to hear that this is like the plot for a movie, but this allegedly happened here, so I'm definitely following this story. Police say Cotonon managed to escape, dashing out of the townhouse and flagging down a New York Police Department traffic enforcement agent for help. Cops quickly responded and arrested Willits at the scene, leading him out of the residence in handcuffs with no shoes on and his bathrobe. Prosecutors charged Willits with assault, kidnapping, unlawful imprisonment, and criminal possession of a weapon. He too was ordered held without bail at his arraignment. And it says crypto torture suspects were had lavish spending at New York City's The Box. So let's talk about that here as more is learned about these people. And this is reporting from TMZ. The crypto king of Kentucky, suspected of torturing a man for weeks inside a swanky multi-million-dollar New York City townhouse, went big on a super exclusive nightclub. Sources with direct knowledge tell us John Willis and his alleged accomplice, William Duplessis, started going to the club called The Box back in February, and there were nights they would drop between $80,000 and $100,000. That's crazy. The Box bills itself as a unique and exclusive club featuring nightly shows combining music, theater, burlesque, and other adult kind of content there. We're told William, a Swiss businessman, was always shirtless inside the box because he wanted to act like the man he thought he was in the mafia. Sources also say William would explain his shirtless preference by claiming people wouldn't take him seriously if he had a shirt on. William's drink of choice at the box, we're told, was Don Julio 1942 tequila and champagne, with William drinking his booze straight from the bottle. Eventually, John and William moved into the Mercer Hotel before transferring to a fancy townhouse in Soho. They were told they would bring lots of girls back from the box for after parties. Our sources say John and William even hired promoters to bring the girls back to their pad, and the women were mostly models from IMG and Wilhelmina. Our sources say William also liked American Spirit cigarettes, and were told John and William were partying like every day was their last and lived their lives on the edge, but it was all a facade. John, we're told, didn't want to live in New York, but Will convinced him to live there, and our sources described William as the male version of infamous con artist, fraudster Anna Delvey. Not familiar with her. If you are, let me know. Cops say Cotteron ultimately escaped the townhouse where he was allegedly being tortured for the password for his Bitcoin fortune, and he told police everything. John was arrested Friday in nothing but a bathrobe, and he's charged with multiple felonies, including assault, kidnapping, unlawful imprisonment, and weapons possession. William turned himself in to law enforcement Tuesday, and he's reportedly charged with kidnapping, assault, and unlawful imprisonment. So we will be following this story here, see if there's any more updates that come out. So stay tuned. We'll definitely keep you posted here. We're going to follow that one through to the trial as well. Let me see if they have any other updates on that particular. And let's see here. They got okay. New video has surfaced showing the alleged victim in the New York City crypto kidnapping case escaping from his house of horrors, where prosecutors say he was tortured for weeks. CNN released an exclusive video. CNN seems to be getting a lot of exclusives here for these big cases, so they must have some good contacts out here. CNN released an exclusive video of Michael Valentino Teofrasto Cotaran dashing out of the basement of a Manhattan townhouse and running barefoot onto the sidewalk and down the street. This is a man who says that he was allegedly being tortured by the two people who've been arrested for it. And this is reporting from TMZ that we're reading from. It's clear from the footage Cotaran was trying to get away from someone or something because he's hightailing it out of there. 2 days ago, NBC New York released similar surveillance footage capturing Cotaran flagging down a traffic officer for help after his daring escape. Two suspects, John Willits and William Duplessis, have already been arrested in connection with kidnapping and torturing Cotaran, their business partner in a Bitcoin venture gone awry, according to police. Cops say Duplessis and Willits lured Cotaran to their townhouse on May 6th to force him to turn over his Bitcoin wallet password worth millions, but Cotaran refused to give it up, so Willits and Duplessis allegedly tortured him for the next several weeks by using an electric wires to shock him, pointing a pow-pow at his head, and hanging him over a banister at the top of a staircase. Crazy story. I don't think Hollywood could have wrote anything wilder than that, but we will be following it. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. I know times are tough, but times are not that hard. I don't think it's ever necessary to do all of that. That's doing a whole lot. And now we're going to get into our next story here for Kevin Costner. And it's a little bit sad to see this because you don't normally hear about Kevin Costner being in anything, and to see that he had a lawsuit, it was a little bit surprising. It's the same way I felt about hearing about Smokey Robinson being in a lawsuit here. So let's get into these details. And this is reporting from TMZ. Kevin Costner is being sued by a stunt performer for sexual harassment and discrimination and retaliation over a grape scene for the second part of his anthology series Horizon and American Saga, a scene she claims was unscripted. Delvin Labella filed the lawsuit Tuesday against Costner and the film's production companies after she says she was, quote, the victim of a violent, unscripted, unscheduled grape scene directed by Costner on May 2nd, 2023, according to legal docs obtained by TMZ. LaBella, whose other credits include Barbie and American Horror Story, says she experienced no issues on the set prior and even filmed a scheduled and rehearsed sexual assault scene on May 1st, which is why she was shocked to stroll on the set the next day, learning she would be subject to shooting another explicit scene. The actress claims there were no contractually mandated intimacy coordinator present on set the day of May 2nd, and that Costner was very hands-on and was either involved in or fully aware of every single thing going on. Ooh, that's quite a allegation there. She alleges Costner instructed actor Roger Ivins during the unrehearsed scene, writing, quote, Mr. Ivins violently rustled Ms. Labella's skirt up as if trying to get inside her against her will while using his body and arms forcibly pinning her down per Costner's orders. Ooh, this doesn't sound good at all. The suit claims in June 2023, LaBella, quote, began therapy to address symptoms stemming from her traumatic experience on the set of Horizon 2, including intrusive, distressing memories of the traumatic event, sleep disturbance, fears of intimacy, and anxiety, among others, end quote. The suit says she felt disposable and worthless following the scene. And all right, this is just too crazy. This is my first time reading all this, and I'm just kind of in shock. Furthermore, Labella says she was retaliated against after she reported the experience to multiple individuals, including the intimacy coordinator and her stunt supervisors, alleging she was, quote, blacklisted from subsequent employment opportunities on the Horizon series and with production colleagues who were made aware of her complaints, end quote. The suit accuses Costner and associated production companies of acting with malice, fraud, opposition, and in reckless disregard of her rights, and she's therefore seeking general and compensatory damages in amounts to be proven at trial. Ooh. Costner's attorney, Marty Singer, tells TMZ the lawsuit has absolutely no merit and claims Labella is a serial accuser of people in the entertainment industry. He also says Costner he also says Costner always wants to make sure that everyone is comfortable working on his films and takes safety on his set very seriously. Singer additionally alleges Labella took stunt coordinator Wade Allen to dinner following the production as a symbol of her gratitude and provided a text screenshot of her allegedly saying, "Thank you for these wonderful weeks." Wow. That is That's a lot. We will be following that trial for sure if it goes that far. Let's read into some more reporting we got on this here. This is reporting from TMZ. Kevin Costner is being sued by a stunt performer over an allegedly unscripted grape scene in his anthology series Horizon and American Saga Chapter 2, and the moment also took its toll on some of the film's child actors. Here's the deal, Devin Labella filed the lawsuit this week and against Costner and the film's production companies, claiming she was, quote, the victim of a violent, unscripted, unscheduled grape scene directed by Costner on May 2nd, 2023. A production source with direct knowledge tells TMZ while they can't speak to the lawsuit allegations, they did know the grape scene was filmed within earshot of child actors, and neither they nor adult counterparts were given any heads up about the loud, explicit moment. And since they had zero warning, the kids were scared and upset when they suddenly heard a woman screaming bloody murder. We're told adults around the children reassured them all was well, even though no one knew what was happening. That's crazy. Labella, whose other credits include Barbie, American Horror Story, says she experienced no issues on set prior and even filmed a scheduled and rehearsed sexual assault scene on May 1st, which is why she was shocked to stroll onto set the following day, learning she would be shooting another explicit scene. We hear that there were whispers on set the next day that it was uncomfortable. It was an uncomfortable night for actors involved in the allegedly unscripted scene, but for the most part, whatever occurred, it was very, quote, hush, hush. Labella claims there were no contractually mandated intimacy coordinator present on set for the disputed scene, and the suit accuses Costner and associated production companies of acting with, quote, malice, fraud, oppression, and in reckless regard, end quote, of her rights. Costner's attorney, Marty Singer, previously told TMZ the lawsuit was absolutely. Okay, sorry about these disruptions. There were calls that were coming through here. Costner's attorney, Marty Singer, previously told TMZ the lawsuit has, quote, absolutely no merit and claims Labella is a, quote, serial accuser of people in the entertainment industry, end quote, and adds Costner, quote, always wants to make sure that everyone is comfortable working on his films and takes safety on his set very seriously, end quote. Our sources agree mostly Kevin is a pro and was wonderful, especially to the kid actors, save for this instance of no warning for a graphic moment which has a serious lapse in protocol at worst, disrespectful at best. We've reached out to New Line Cinema for comment. No word back so far. Let me know your thoughts on that. That's a crazy case. I was not expecting to see that as far as what was going to be in that lawsuit against Kevin Costner. We're going to be monitoring this one as well. Let's take a pause for some comments from Michael Lawson. Hi, sister. Yes, you are the bomb. I look forward to reading your real news page, and I can't wait until you get on top of the world. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate you. And if you're on the live, let me know if you are part of the Aries crew by saying hashtag Aries crew, or if you're a first time watcher, leave first time watcher in the comments. I want to give you a shout out for stopping by. I appreciate you spending part of your day here. We are going to get into some Diddy trial updates. We have been following this trial since day one here, so we got to get caught up on the testimony that occurred. I wish I could be in that courtroom because I would love to see this in person, but in absence of that, we are following everything to see what is going on here. If you can do me a favor and like the live as you come in, it's a free way to support the channel. It goes a long way and it means a whole lot. It would be greatly appreciated. So let's get into this testimony that we have today. This reporting from TMZ. Stylist set Cassie up with Michael B. Jordan. Testimony from celebrity stylist Deontay Nash continued Thursday in Sean Diddy Combs' federal ex-trafficking and racketeering trial in New York City. After he told the jury Wednesday he witnessed the rap mogul threaten former girlfriend Cassie's singing career with the release of X tapes of her. On the stand Thursday, Nash said that while he was in Miami to style rapper Lil' Kim, he confirmed he set up Cassie with actor Michael B. Jordan. He said when asked about Andre Branch, a former NFL linebacker, he was then asked about Andre Branch, a former NFL linebacker who Cassie also dated. Combs' defense asked Nash whether he was aware of the relationship with Branch. He said, quote, oh, the cute football player? Yes, but I never met him, end quote. He also asked about the NBA player referred to only as Brandon. And hang on here, I'm going to take a quick drink of water. All right, let's get back into it. All right, Diddy's defense attorney Xavier Donaldson proposes to read text messages back and forth with Nash. Nash looks at the messages and says, quote, oh, you got some names in here, end quote. They proceed to role play the exchange. Some of Cassie's facial injuries seem to be referenced in the messages. Nash is asked if he was aware Cassie was having threesomes with other men. He replies, no, she didn't tell me. Nash is also asked about Diddy recording Cassie on her own phone, which he stands by. Nash also confirmed he had helped Cassie pick clothes for her court testimony 2 weeks ago. Nash was earlier asked about Cassie's relationship with rapper Scott Kid Cudi Muscudi, and he said he was, and he thought Cassie was broken up with Diddy at the time. Before the jury was seated, the defense and prosecution team sparred over admitting a scrapbook belonging to former Diddy assistant named Mia into evidence. The scrapbook seemed to reference the 1997 murder of rapper Christopher Notorious B.I.G. Wallace. In LA, there's also conversation about social media posts and texts. The prosecution also referenced the defense team sending a bunch of messages about Deontay Nash. Wednesday, Nash told the jury he saw Diddy get violent with Cassie. On one incident where Diddy made Cassie's head bleed, Nash said he didn't report the violence because he feared retaliation. I tell you, the testimony at this Diddy trial is just so crazy, and it never disappoints. Anytime somebody's coming up there that was like in his inner circle, they are telling another kind of like Hollywood wild tale story where I'm like, this isn't even a story that they could come up with as a movie script, but this, allegedly really happened to people. And let's see. All right, and we got to talk about this one because I wasn't expecting the purple one, Prince, may he rest in peace, to come up at all in the Diddy trial. But as this goes with this particular one, there are so many twists and turns in here, so we got to get into this story that's reporting from TMZ. Prince's security intervened when Diddy was starting to attack Cassie outside a party hosted by the Purple Rain singer. One of Diddy's former personal assistants testified in court. The female assistant, introduced by her pseudonym Mia, says she worked for Diddy as his personal assistant and later as director of development and acquisition for Revolt Films, a media company Diddy founded. Mia told the jury she witnessed Diddy get physically violent with Cassie on multiple occasions, including at a 2010 party hosted by Prince. She testified the night before the party, Diddy told her to stay with Cassie and that he was going to be at his house with his kids. She says she heard about Prince's party and she and Cassie debated like little kids if they should sneak out and go to the bash. The issue, Mia said, what's on here? Sorry about that. The issue, Mia told the jury she and Cassie were not allowed to go where they wanted when they were together, and that when they did something without Diddy's permission, they would be punished in a bad, scary, and terrifying ways. Mia said she and Cassie ended up going to Prince's party where Prince performed for partygoers on a little table. She told jurors she saw Diddy show up and they locked eyes. She said she thought, oh crap, and Cassie booked it out of the party. She said she went with Cassie across the street to some woods or bushes, but Diddy caught Cassie and had her on the ground and started attacking her before Prince's security intervened. Mia said the next day HR told her Diddy was suspending her without pay and that Diddy had said she was being insubordinate. Asked about working for Diddy, Mia said his moods changed often. She described being targeted by Diddy in alleged violent attacks, being thrown against a wall, having things thrown at her, having an ice bucket put on her head, slamming her arms into a door, and she says she was actually assaulted that he actually assaulted her more than once. She said the first times she met Diddy, he was in his underwear at his apartment after a human resources person had left. Mia testified she once stayed up for 5 days straight, taking a substance that had an extended release on there. That is crazy. 5 days straight. I don't even know why you would stay up for 5 days straight. Wow. I don't know what he had these assistants doing, but their stories are so wild to me that they get up here and testify about. Let me know what your thoughts are for the testimony that we've heard so far for this Diddy trial. What do you think about that? Do you think that the prosecution is doing a good job of proving their case? Do you think Diddy could win? Or you think he's going to be locked up? And then we're going to read the last story here for an update on the Diddy trial here. Diddy's former assistant says she had to clean up some pretty nasty scenes in the hotels where he stayed with Cassie, including some fluid she says she was told was her menstrual blood. The ex-employee who was testifying under the pseudonym Mia told jurors one of her jobs as Diddy's assistant was to clean up hotel rooms before housekeeping due to concerns about embarrassing photos getting out. Mia testified the rooms she encountered were destroyed and the real and really nasty conditions were a nightmare. She said there would be candle wax everywhere, broken glass, oil on the walls, and sometimes even blood. Prosecutors asked her specifically about the blood, and she said Diddy told her it was menstrual blood. Other Diddy assistants have also testified about setting up hotel rooms in a similar manner. She also said it was her job to transport Diddy and Cassie to the hotels and set up their rooms, unpacking lotions, Astroglide lubricant, and white glade candles. Mia even testified Diddy once threw a bowl of spaghetti at her because she needed to put off one of his requests until she could change some stuff related to her cycle. She said Diddy was telling her to go round up some people at his Los Angeles home, but she first headed to her room so she could change, and telling jurors that she had something that was dripping down her leg. Mia testified Diddy got upset because he wanted her to get his request done ASAP, and he had a bowl of spaghetti in his hand and threw it at her, cursing her out and telling her to get out of his house. She told jurors Diddy threw other things at her in separate incidents, including a computer and some turkey meat. A computer and turkey meat. Why are you throwing computers at people? That sounds, I don't know. I tell you, this story is just gets crazier and crazier the more I hear it. Okay, hold on. We do have a couple more because we want to make sure we get in all these stories from the testimony for today. And so this is also reporting from TMZ. One of Diddy's former stylists just said on the stand at the Rap Moguls trial that Cassie had a relationship with ex-Miami Dolphins player Andre Branch. Let me know if you are familiar with this player. Deontay Nash, who worked for Diddy from roughly 2008 to 2018. Okay, 10 years. Remember, the linebacker's a cute football player after prosecutors asked him if Cassie and Branch dated. Nash didn't elaborate much further on the stand about the two's alleged romance, though he did testify that Cassie had a relationship with Michael B. Jordan as well, and y'all know him. He is a well-known actor at this point, and Cassie's alleged fling with the former NFLer had been broached once before during Diddy's trial when the singer was on the stand earlier this month, but Branch wasn't mentioned by name until Nash's testimony Thursday. You'll recall Cassie told a Diddy attorney on May 16th she had an affair with the footballer, and when Diddy found out about it, he took her phone. Branch, 35, was picked by the Jacksonville Jaguars in the second round of the 2012 NFL Draft. He went on to play for the team from 2012 through 2015 before joining the Dolphins in 2016. His last in-game snaps in the league came in 2018. So far, he has yet to publicly comment on the statements about him at the Diddy trial. I don't blame him. I'd want to stay out of that as much as possible. And let's see, I think we got one more story to get caught up with from the testimony in the trial. Let me. All right, let's get into this one. And this is also reporting from TMZ. One of Diddy's former assistants says the music mogul actually assaulted her for the first time during his birthday party at a swanky hotel in New York City, but she says it didn't end there. The witness, who is testifying under the pseudonym Mia, told jurors she was working for Diddy in 2009 when he actually assaulted her at the Plaza Hotel in New York, where he was celebrating his 40th birthday. Mia says Diddy rented out the penthouse for a party filled with unnamed celebrities, and she was also asked to speak to her He also asked to speak to her in the kitchen, clearing out the room and leaving just the two of them alone. She testified this was early on in her employment, and Diddy told her that they were going to be working closely together and poured some shots. She said she took the shots, but they hit her harder than normal and her eyes lost focus. Mia tells jurors Diddy got close to her, put his arm up the side of her dress, and kissed her, testifying she didn't want him to do so. She said she wasn't able to say no because she was shocked and couldn't process what was happening. She says the next thing she knew, it was the following morning and she was in a chair in a different room of the penthouse. That's scary. Mia testified she thought Diddy would never do something like that again and that it was all a huge accident. But then she told jurors there were additional instances of sexual assault during her time working for Diddy. She said the next time Diddy actually assaulted her was at his home in Los Angeles. She said she was sleeping in her room and felt the weight of a person on her, and it was Diddy. Mia testified Diddy used one hand to undo his pants and attempt to get inside her. She said she froze and it all happened very fast and she felt terrified, confused, ashamed, and scared. She told jurors the next time she was actually assaulted was at a different Diddy residence in Los Angeles. She said she was in the bedroom closet on the floor putting things in a bag, and Diddy was in the closet. He took out his stuff, grabbed her head, and put it in her mouth. Wow. Mia cried on the stand. She said as she testified and told jurors she was frozen and didn't do anything, and said the incidents made her feel like trash. She said another sexual assault happened on a private jet. She told the jury she never wanted any of these sexual acts with Diddy. Just sounds terrible what some of these people are saying their experience was like with him. I don't know what any of that stuff had to do with the music business, but based on them saying that he was doing a lot of substances all the time, I'm going to chalk this up to his just whole judgment and thinking was impaired by being on stuff, because this just sounds too crazy for a workplace, in my personal opinion. My hat's off to these people having to go up there and relive this stuff and talking about things they probably don't want to remember or discuss, because it just sounds horrific to me. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. We're definitely going to be following this trial all the way through to the end. So every time there's testimony, any updates, we will definitely bring it to you here to make sure the Aries crew is up on all of that information. We'll link the description here to the Diddy playlist so you can get caught up if you may have missed some days on the testimony that's happened so far in this trial. We will be back on live tomorrow. So we look forward to seeing you then if you haven't already done so. If you could do me a favor and like the video, it's a free way to support and it goes a long way. And if you've already watched this long, go ahead and join the Aries crew. We'd love to have you here. We have fun. All you got to do is hit that subscription button and hit that notification bell so you can find out every time I go live, post videos, post on the community page, and all that good stuff. Thank you so much for all the support. I feel so blessed to have this channel reach 1,800 subscribers. It was a goal of mine. I want to thank you so much for helping me to reach that on the road to 2,000. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you for watching.